And tonight comes the party. Jim Armstrong is live inside the Heinz Convention Center for the inaugural ball. Jim?
Party's in full swing behind me here. Maybe you can hear the Boston Pops getting ready to perform. The Boston Pops Gospel Chorus is also performing. The new mayor himself expected to take the stage in about 30 minutes or so. Today actually is, of course, his party, but it also counts as his first full day of work. And in between parties, the new mayor had already had a meeting at his new office. It was a citywide celebration for Mayor Marty Walsh over at the Heinz Convention Center Monday night.
Congratulations, Marty!
From black tie to ball cap.
He has the best interest of Boston at heart, and I am so proud that I voted for him.
Hours earlier, thousands of supporters filled the Conti Forum over at BC for Walsh's swearing in, where dignitaries and friends looked on as Walsh took the oath of office on a Bible held by his mother.
Congratulations. Thank you, Chief.
The new mayor's inaugural address focused primarily on enhancing public schools and improving public safety.
No parent should worry that a bullet will stop a daughter or son from coming home. No woman should be scared on our streets. No senior should be afraid in their home. And no child should be forced to live with trauma and the indelible scars of violence.
Just moments later, Walsh took his first meeting as mayor at City Hall, where he assembled police, crime victims, clergy, and others to talk about safety.
I think he's made it clear, and he brought together all the main stakeholders, and we had a very productive meeting today. What's leading to the violence, that's what it's all about, addressing those factors that, can make a difference in a young kid's life.
Now, tonight's party here at the Heinz Convention Center is set to wrap up around midnight. A good thing for the new mayor. He's got a full day, day two, tomorrow. Among his tasks, he said himself, he's going to get to work finding a new school superintendent for the city of Boston. Live in Boston, Jim Armstrong, WBZ News. Kate?
All right, a lot of big jobs ahead of him. Jim, thank you.
Jim Armstrong joins us live from the big party tonight. Jim?
Lisa, the party is still very much going on. It is a day that belongs to the mayor of the city of Boston, Marty Walsh. As I step out of the way, you can see quite literally the spotlight is still on the man as he tries to make his way out of the convention hall here, thanking as many of his supporters one-on-one as he can. He just got off the stage a couple of minutes ago talking about how humbled and proud he feels. Let's have a quick listen to some of that speech.
But I just think about how fortunate I am and how fortunate Boston is to have loving, caring people like all of you that are here tonight to celebrate bringing in a new era into the city of Boston.
And while today certainly is a day for Walsh and his supporters, friends, and family to celebrate and to look ahead, it was also a day for the city's new mayor to get to work. It was a citywide celebration for Mayor Marty Walsh over at the Heinz Convention Center Monday night.
Congratulations, Marty!
From black tie to ball cap.
He has the best interest of Boston at heart, and I am so proud that I voted for him.
Hours earlier, thousands of supporters filled the Conti Forum over at BC for Walsh's swearing in, where dignitaries and friends looked on as Walsh took the oath of office on a Bible held by his mother.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Chief.
The new mayor's inaugural address focused primarily on enhancing public schools and improving public safety.
No parent should worry that a bullet will stop a daughter or son from coming home. No woman should be scared on our streets. No senior should be afraid in their home. And no child should be forced to live with trauma and the indelible scars of violence.
Just moments later, Walsh took his first meeting as mayor at City Hall, where he assembled police, crime victims, clergy, and others to talk about safety.
I think he's made it clear, and he brought together all the main stakeholders, and we had a very productive meeting today. What's leading to the violence, that's what it's all about, addressing those factors that, can make a difference in a young kid's life.
The mayor did stumble a little bit during his remarks tonight. He apologized to the crowd, saying, frankly, he's just exhausted and is really anxious to get some sleep, but he's got a full day of work cut out for him tomorrow, day two on the job. That's when he says he's really going to be focusing on finding a new superintendent for the city's schools. Live in Boston, Jim Armstrong, WBZ News. Lisa?
Some huge responsibilities, Jim. Thank you. With the friend.
Paula, as a result of today's Supreme Court action, protesters in front of an abortion clinic are free to walk right up to the front door, right alongside a woman going into that clinic for one of its services. Protesters obviously see this as a big win. Women who might use these clinics less so.
It was just devastating just to hear those people chant stuff that I'm killing my child, and my child was already dying.
It was the 11-week ultrasound that changed everything for MJ and Aaron Gouveia. Their baby's legs were fusing together. There were no kidneys, no bladder, no chance of survival. Doctors at the Brigham suggested the couple get to this Brookline clinic quickly.
We got out of the car and immediately we could hear the yelling.
Something that I didn't personally want to see on the worst day of my life. I loved this child. I wanted this child.
Protesters respected the 35-foot buffer zone, but sound travels.
It would have been easier if they just physically harmed me. It would have been a whole lot easier, because those words will always stick with me forever.
Our fight to make sure to defend the buffer zone has always been about protecting women's rights and women's access.
That fight led to the Massachusetts state law creating the buffer, a law the U.S. Supreme Court Thursday struck down. But now that this line's power is gone, some protesters say their screaming days are over.
I'm raising my voice. That's not the type of counseling that these people need. These people need to be educated as to what basically is happening in there.
The Gouveias got pregnant again with a healthy baby boy. But without a buffer zone, they fear for other couples who will have to endure what they did.
A woman's just trying to take care of her reproductive health. I mean, she's already being screamed at. Now, without this buffer zone, she could be screamed at with someone right in your face. And I think that's horrible.
Not all of the state law was struck down today. Part of it remains, specifically the part that forbids a protester from physically blocking the front door to an abortion clinic. This afternoon, state lawmakers said publicly they're going to start working on some new legislation to respond to today's Supreme Court ruling. Live in the Satellite Center, Jim Armstrong, WBZ News. Paula?
Jim, thank you. New tonight, lawyers...
Find Jim Armstrong right now. Jim?
Well, Jack, earlier in the day, just a couple of hours ago, in fact, you could walk around Chatham and it was perfectly dry. There was barely any wind and there was no rain falling. That's all changed just in the past hour or so, and it's going to get worse. All afternoon, it was easy for tourists to pretend there was no storm coming. Most of the people at the Chatham Motel are in town for a wedding tomorrow.
It's a big family and a good group, so we'll contingency plan as we go, I guess.
Tom Kelly's in from Philadelphia, his sister from Virginia, where she narrowly missed Hurricane Arthur.
I think it was a Category 2 down there, and now it's Category 1, so it's getting better as I go north.
It's been exciting. Lots of weddings, lots of stuff going on, and all I do is pull in the chairs for the wind and put it back out. We're good.
That's exactly the plan for the Poland family, Chatham summer residents who opted today to head back home to Westford. So today the question is stay or go?
Yes, we didn't know whether to stay here and weather it out here and watch the place, or go home and go to work tomorrow and then worry about this place for the next 2 weeks, because we wouldn't be back for another couple of weeks.
And now one last romp for the kids before the storm traps everybody inside.
We're just trying to take advantage while we can.
The last few minutes, I guess.
The last few minutes, and then, hopefully we'll get their energy out. We'll take them home and have some good downtime.
You know, back live here on the Outer Cape, so many people are here. They'd be here for any summer weekend, but this being the 4th of July weekend, every motel and hotel you pass seems to be absolutely full, no vacancy signs. A lot of people we talk to, both visitors and people running those hotels and motels, trying to be optimistic, recognizing that this storm will be pretty intense this evening, but by tomorrow morning it'll pass, and then we should have, according to the meteorologists, a pretty wonderful weekend on the other side of Hurricane Arthur. We're live in Chatham. Jim Armstrong, WBZ News. Lisa?
All right, looking forward to that. Jim, thank you. Coming up your place, and Jim, things have started to pick up in the past few hours.
Yeah, you win the award for understatement of the evening, Lisa, I believe. This really feels like a tale of two storms. To hear what Lauren and Katie are describing happened on the south coast earlier today with the torrential rains. So you juxtapose it to what happened here. It was practically sunny all day today. Not a drop fell until 7:30 or so. There was no wind, but in the past few hours, it has gotten nasty. You guys know there's a hurricane going right now.
No? No.
A hurricane?
It's July in Cape Cod.
It's abnormal, to say the least, but Arthur, now a tropical storm, is very much here.
It looks fairly tame. We were hoping for something a little more apocalyptic, honestly.
Driving rain and winds expected to be a growing problem through midnight on the Outer Cape. Before that, though, the storm largely attracting the curious. What's the headlight going to do for business?
Keep me from falling down.
Does it work?
Yeah, it got me here so far, though.
Earlier in the day, locals took advantage of the calm to do some last-minute prep work.
Put the furniture, the outside furniture away, and the tables, chairs out in the back that we eat on,
And tourists tried to be optimistic. Tom Kelly and his sister Maureen are on the Cape for their cousin's wedding.
Right, yeah, this is fine. It's going to be fun. Rain's good luck, I guess. And hurricanes and storms must be really good luck.
Or at least initially, reason to head over to Coast Guard Beach and see the sights.
Although it's not as wild as we thought it was going to be.
I was going to ask, does it match your expectations?
Not really. Not yet, anyways.
So I think if I had taken that lady's phone number, I probably would have called her back, but about now. We interviewed her at about 8:30 or so. Conditions have gotten a little bit worse. I'll certainly say that here. Driving rain and fierce winds. And Lisa, if you can hear me or see me, I think, well, when they say waterproof, it might be more of a slogan than an actual thing. Back to you.
All right, thank you very much. Jim Armstrong live for us in Chatham. Jim Armstrong is live in Boston tonight. Jim?
Lisa, some genuinely terrifying moments for the dozens of passengers on board the Provincetown ferry that you see behind me here. It's docked right now and it'll be just fine. But for the passengers, many of whom were sound asleep, they were rudely awakened in the middle of their voyage when there was just this huge noise and the ferry came to a stop and water started pouring in. Cell phone video captures the chaos.
The boat is sinking.
42 passengers headed back to Boston from Provincetown, rammed by what the ferry company calls a highly unusual and very large set of waves.
It hit the front of the ship and then it exploded the glass window.
Actually, a pair of windows in the pilot house 20 feet above the waterline.
It was this giant wave. It was like a big bang.
And then all of a sudden, down from the ceiling came a lot of water actually.
Broken glass cut up the captain's hand.
It looks like that scene in The Perfect Storm when the boat just dives down.
Move. And the seawater buckled this bench and shut down the engine's computer system.
It was insane. At some point, I really thought I was going to die.
We were out in the middle of the ocean and we were just all pretty scared. We didn't know what was going to happen.
A trio of Coast Guard boats rushed to the scene about 5 miles off the coast of Scituate. What goes through your mind as that's happening, though?
We're thinking.
But Ariel Schrum stayed calm and earned a reputation on board.
There was a police officer on board from another state, and she was helping out, which was awesome.
He played trumpet for us. It was fabulous.
You're very popular for your trumpet skills.
I guess so.
The Berklee College music student played his trumpet until help arrived, and about 3.5 hours later, and on one engine, the Provincetown 4 finally limped back to port.
Yeah, pretty happy to be on dry land.
Investigators spent a lot of time on board the Provincetown 4 this evening. The ferry's owners apologized profusely, releasing a statement this evening promising to look into exactly what happened and why it happened on the sea earlier today. Passengers told us they weren't offered any compensation or any vouchers, but when they were stranded on the water, the bar was open and the beer, they said, was free. We're live in Boston. Jim Armstrong, WBZ News. Lisa?
It was something. All right, Jim, thank you. This is the second time in less than a month that passengers have been stranded outside the federal court tonight in South Boston. Jim?
Lisa, I just finished speaking with WBZ legal analyst Harry Mannion. He says Tsarnaev's defense team probably knew all along that a change of venue was a long shot at best, but he thinks what they're trying to do, even at this early point, lays the groundwork for an eventual appeal if and when Tsarnaev is found guilty. Tsarnaev's legal team was really pushing to have his trial moved out of Boston, claiming there was no way they could find an impartial jury here. But District Judge George O'Toole ruled that's a tough task anywhere, so it might as well stay in Boston. It is doubtful whether a jury could be selected anywhere in the country whose members were wholly unaware of the marathon bombings, he wrote.
And they say everyone in Boston, or a high percentage of people in Boston, have made up their mind that he is guilty. And that's just not true. There's just no statistical evidence.
Citing big cases like last summer's trial of Whitey Bulger, the judge wrote, this court's recent experience with high-profile criminal cases in this district suggests a fair and impartial jury can be impaneled. This decision is a victory for marathon bombing survivors like Mark Fuckerell, who's been coming to court for pretty much every proceeding faithfully, including just last week.
I'm just waiting for him to see us and have to face what he did. Because he's a coward, because he didn't face us that day.
Tsarnaev will face his alleged victims, but a little later than originally planned. This latest ruling postpones the start of his trial by 2 months, even though the defense team had asked for a delay of 10 months.
This defense team is playing for this defendant's life, and they are going to do everything constitutionally warranted.
Lawyers for both sides tonight agree there's been a tremendous amount of news coverage about the bombings. But in his ruling this evening, the judge explicitly said he does not think that coverage in any way biased potential jurors. Attorney Mannion, however, did tell me he predicts jury selection for this case will take a very long time. We now know it begins January 5th. Live outside federal court, Jim Armstrong, WBZ News.
We also have...
At first, it was a curiosity.
I can't explain it.
Now, well, it's practically an epidemic, one of unthinkable kindness.
The tone is, first of all, anonymity. No one is leaving a name. No one is, not even a first name, no addresses.
It began in early December when a widow dropped her wedding set into a Salvation Army kettle at Boston's North Station. Her anonymous act set in motion an avalanche of altruism. Diamonds, often accompanied by the most touching notes, started showing up all over the state. This cross in Brookline, a pendant in Fitchburg, more rings in Weymouth.
Occasionally a ring, a piece of jewelry here or there, but a wave like this is unprecedented.
Christmas Eve morning alone, someone plunked this antique wedding set into a Swampscott kettle, and moments later in Lynn came this diamond necklace, complete with its old appraisal. A pendant that was probably someone's Christmas gift 12 years ago becomes one once more.
We're a bit uncharted territory. We'll be in consultation with our headquarters.
For now, the Salvation Army is holding on to all the pieces. After the Christmas rush, they'll take everything to an appraiser and figure out how and where to spend strangers' generosity. Jim Armstrong, WBZ News.